Hello, everyone. It's me, Ape of the Horror. I know it's been a long time, and I want to apologize for that. You see, I've been thinking about how I can top last year's Halloween video. Should I do the talk show again? Should I do something with hand puppets? Should I actually hire actors, writers, cameramen, and animators to make something truly bombastic? But then as I thought about it, something came to my mind. It's impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. I'm going to run for president. That's right, everyone. It's me, your cadaver-in-chief. These old f***ing shrivs have been mucking up this whole operation, and now it's my turn to straighten it out. Cue the music. He's observing the chaos, taking in the lack of raw humanity. It's as if the entire world's fallen in love with their insanity. Hear the innocent voices scream as the tormentors laugh through all of it. No forgiveness from all I've seen, the degradation I cannot forget. So sleep soundly in your beds tonight, for judgment falls upon you at first light. I'm the hand of God, I'm the dark Messiah, I'm the vengeful one. Look inside and see what you're becoming. In the blackest moment of the dying world, what have you become? Look inside and see what you're becoming. First and foremost, as president, I will make Halloween a federal holiday. For too long, children have been forced to go to school, adults to work, and I have been forced to listen to the constant complaints of Janice in the break room saying, "We should really get the day off." Well, guess what, Janice? You can finally shut your screaming gob. And by the way, if you ask me one more time to cover your shift while you go to your idiot daughter's ballet recital, I'll hunt you down and flay you like a fish. Besides, Halloween isn't a day for work and toil. It's not a day for you to be sitting at your computer typing up why the old man lost all his fish to sharks or some shit. It's a day for you to be sitting in your pajamas with the lights turned off, eating candy and watching horror films. You know, like these ones. I've been seeing people sing the praises of Emesis Blue for the longest time, but I always thought, okay, come on, it's a Source filmmaker video. It'll probably be full of wacky slapstick jokes and such. How good could it possibly be? I was blown away by this film. Emesis Blue is a 2023 film directed and written by Chad Payne and uploaded to his YouTube channel, Fortress Films. It's a psychological horror film set in the Team Fortress 2 universe and, from what I understand, follows the lore quite closely. In it, the medic has started having bizarre, grotesque visions, and people around him start to end up dead. Somehow all of this linking back to the respawn machine. There's been a lot of analysis of this film, but the most compelling thing for me is the idea of eternal death. No matter the circumstances of your death, even if you've been hideously deformed in a previous run, you always come back, over and over and over again. What would that be like? What would that do to your psyche, to have no end, to have no respite? All of these posed in a freaking TF2 video. I really enjoyed this film, and I highly recommend it. Even if you don't play or know anything about TF2, I still think you'll really enjoy it. I loved The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy when I was a kid. Something about children getting up to supernatural and paranormal hijinks and being able to control super magical eldritch beings made for such a fun idea for a show. However, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy has been canceled for over 16 years at this point, leaving an Irwin-sized hole in my heart. Enter PG, Psycho Goreman, a 2020 supernatural comedy film written and directed by Steven Kostanski. While playing a game in their backyard one day, Mimi and her brother Luke discover a glowing gem buried in the earth. This turns out to be the gem of Paraxodite, which controls a super powerful eldritch alien being that the kids dub Psycho Goreman. Mimi decides to keep him as a friend and servant to all her whims, despite Luke's protest. However, with Psycho Goreman awakened, the Planetary Alliance seeks to find him and destroy him. This film has a very similar style to Billy and Mandy. Two kids controlling this ancient, powerful being for shits and giggles has proven to be a fun setup before, and it is very much a fun setup here as well. Of course, this film is of a lot more mature nature than Billy and Mandy, containing quite a bit of blood and gore. But overall, I like the humor and the use of practical effects in this film. If you like dark yet goofy comedies, I definitely recommend this film.
Brought you some reading material, PG, and TV to watch. Did you sleep okay? I'm sorry we didn't bring any pornos.
Petty displays of wealth. How can your short lifespans allow such narcissism?
Yeah, but look at all the hunky boys.
I do not care for hunky boys. Or do I?
The Terrifier series by Damien Leone is a series that I think people like for the wrong reasons. They like it for the gore and the blood and the practical effects that go into it. I like it for how much of a goober Art the Clown is. We are not the same. But to those that don't know, Terrifier 2 is a 2022 slasher film written and directed by Damien Leone and is the direct sequel to the previous film, Terrifier. However, this film has an actual story and some themes. The original was much more of a concept film of sorts, expounding on the character and seeing what they could do. Meanwhile, in this film, it follows the resurrection of Art the Clown following his death at the end of the first film, and Sienna Shaw, who, along with her brother Jonathan, are being pursued by Art the Clown on Halloween night. Is this film winning any awards? No. Should this film be in the Criterion Collection? Probably not. Would I say that this film is good? Well, it depends on who I'm talking to. But I can say that this film is fun. The costume designs and practical effects are awesome, and I like David Howard Thornton's performance as Art the Clown. I will say, though, this film gets very, very gory, and is not for the squeamish or faint of heart. But if you can stomach it, I'd say it's a very fun film to watch. Kind of.
Please don't. Please stop, please!
Hey, buddy. You want to quit causing trouble? Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Halloween.
You too.
Secondly, as active president, you can expect me to spend my weekends not at some fancy golf course in the Keys, but sitting in my living room playing the greatest survival horror games of then and now. I, like another political candidate I know, am a big fan of the Sega Dreamcast, which is why I would like to state that Illbleed is now the official game of the United States of America, and that all Americans will be supplied with a Dreamcast and a copy of the game. Oh, one moment, I have to take this. What? What? We can't do that? Well... all right. Well, I've been informed that that initiative would bring about another depression, so here are some games that I cannot federally mandate, but that I highly recommend. Folks, I've recently come to a very disturbing and upsetting realization about myself. I am old, and as such, it's always interesting for me to see consoles and video games that I grew up with being labeled as retro. Well, I can understand games like Luigi's Mansion and Sonic Adventure being seen as retro. I have a hard time seeing games like No More Heroes and BioShock as retro. And then I realized that those games are over 15 years old, and I collapse into a pillar of ash and dust onto the floor. While I have no issues with people trying to capture the aesthetics of bygone technical age, it's interesting to see the same technological jumps that the AAA industry made many years ago being done by the indie game scene. First indie games were really into 8-bit and 16-bit game aesthetics. Now there's this big jump to low poly, and now, with Headwear Games' survival horror game Hollow Body, we're entering the PS2 era of game sensibilities. Hollow Body takes place in the future, where much of the British mainland has been evacuated due to the presence of an unknown illness. You take control of Mika, whose friend went missing while going to the mainland. As a result, Mika goes in search of her, being beset by monsters in the process. This game takes much of its mechanics and visual presentation from Silent Hill 2 and 3, and I'm really here for it. I love the cinematic fixed camera angles, the fancy UI, and the puzzles. Overall, if you like PS2 survival horror games, I think you'll really love Hollow Body. You're the captain of an interplanetary freight ship. You've served as captain for many, many years. You've accrued a lot of experience, respect, and appreciation. Then, imagine, one day, while in the middle of an 8-month freight journey, you learn that the company you work for has gone belly up, and you and all your crew have lost their jobs, and all that experience has amounted to nothing. Do you continue your job, deliver the cargo you had on the ship, collect your last paycheck, and go home and look for another place of employment? Or do you disable the ship's autopilot and send yourself careening into an asteroid? Mouthwashing, developed by Wrong Organ, is perhaps one of the best narratives for a horror game I have seen in quite some time. The characters, Captain Curly, Jimmy, Swansea, Daisuke, and Anya, all felt deeply human, especially considering quite a few of them have a psychologically bad history. I also felt like the non-linear structure of this game was really cool. The narrative itself is broken, leaving the player to stitch everything back together. Meanwhile, a bunch of the segments are punctuated with these scenes of intense psychological horror, flashing phrases over the screen like "take responsibility" and "one day until judgment." Overall, this is a really strongly directed and well-paced horror game, and I highly recommend it. A vacant amusement park, an enigmatic owner, a mysterious girl, and deformed creatures. Crow Country is a 2024 survival horror game created by SFB Games, the same folks that made Snipper Clips. In it, you play as Mara, a detective dispatched to a long, shut-down amusement park called Crow Country to find the missing owner, Edward Crow, only to discover that the park is teeming with monsters ready to attack you at a moment's notice. There's so much to love about this game. The isometric camera that you can swing around during gameplay and the simple, cutesy, almost toy-like low-poly character models give the whole game a sort of playset feel, like Crow Country is just the latest Playmobil set your parents got for you for your birthday and you're running around and exploring it. However, this toy-like aesthetic belies a darker narrative. One that I won't spoil, but raises some questions about medicine and the environment. There's a reason I've played this game almost 5 times over. Do yourself a favor and play Crow Country.
Oh man, this sucks. How could I have lost? I put all my money in this campaign, and it all amounted to Jack Diddley. What am I gonna do?
Hey you, quit your belly aching.
What? Ape of the Hour, is that you? What are you doing here?
Dude, I'm the guy that edited all your campaign videos. Where do you think all those checks you wrote went to?
I thought those went to some nerd in his basement.
They did.
But really, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm here to offer you a job. It may not be of presidential status, but it is paranormal. You think you can handle that? You think you can play that part?
Sir, I was born to play it.